74, 75, and the 74 is cut off over here. We're holding the left column. We're holding someplace. Okay, you ready?
We're ready.
Let's learn.
The road.
Let's learn something. Let's try to learn something.
Let's learn anything.
On this wonderful, beautiful day. Good morning, everybody. So we're holding over here in the middle of the 17th chapter of Tanya, which the Alter Rebbe tries to impress upon us, influence us, that we all have a big mind. Right? We all have a very big, strong mind. Nobody should think that he doesn't have a mind. Nobody should give away his mind. Nobody should think that he's a weak-minded. The Eibishter gave us a very, very strong mind. And he gave us a heart too. He gave us emotions too. But most of us think that our emotions are more powerful than our mind. And that's why we are emotionally wrecked, right? We are emotionally wrecked. We can't control seemingly our emotions. And we are off on a transit many times in our emotional state. The Alter Rebbe keeps on impressing upon us that our mind is stronger than our emotions. That the Eibishter, whatever, if you have a certain midah, if you have a certain attribute, a character that's very strong, whether you're angry, frustrated, aggressive, or the opposite, you're melancholy, you're indifferent, all these are emotional things that a person has in his being. The Eibishter, God gave him a mind that he could know how to deal with this. And when the Gemara says that the Eibishter does not give a person something he can't handle, he's not only talking about things that happen to the outside, he's talking about what happens right in my life. Everything that happens in my life, emotionally, I can handle. And not only I could handle, I should handle. And that will make the whole difference of who I am. And I'll realize ultimately why I came down to the world for. And the purpose of my existence. And it all depends on my mind. That's it. My mind, the way I'm going to think. It's mentioned yesterday, Tzrach gut v'zayin gut. Think good will be good. Think good will be good is not only a statement, a nice feeling statement, but the Rebbe took it as a concept of it actually changed. Your thought changes the situation. It's hard to imagine how a person's thought can change a physical situation. But the Rebbe says that's the reality. A Jew has to realize that his mind can change something in a physical world, can change Pasha's destiny. His mind can change his own destiny. If he changes his mind, he changes the way he thinks. If he learns how to use his mind correctly, and that's why meditation is important. That we sit and think about things, and we sit and try to develop our mind. Just like you take exercise, like I said in the morning, take exercise of the body to make sure that your body works well. You need to flex your mind. Yeah.
What's the source for Trachut Zolzeingut?
Trachut Zolzeingut is the source. The third Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Tzemach Tzedek, said Trachut v'Zeingut. That was his statement. Trachut v'Zeingut. If a person thinks good, it will be good, and that's what we got to do. We got to think positive, and if we think positive, it's actually going to become positive. It's going to become a positive situation. You'll see that it'll turn into a positive situation. Mentioned yesterday that the Torah yesterday in the Pasha, it says when Moshe Rabbeinu got afraid, and the next verse it says Vayishma Parei. What was Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid? That Parei were here. That Pyro will hear about the situation that he killed a mitzvah. That's what he was afraid of, right? It says that he says that, right? So the second he got afraid, so that's what happened. That's what happened. That means if he wouldn't have been afraid, if he wouldn't have said, if the pasuk wouldn't tell us he got afraid, then maybe it would be a different pasuk. The next verse would be a different verse. The second Moshe again got afraid, and that's natural to get afraid. What do you mean? He did something, and now there's two guys telling him that we caught you, and we know what you did. But so what? So why would he think that they would tattletale? Actually, the Gemara says one of the reasons that the Jewish people went out of Mitzrayim because they didn't tattletale. That they didn't tell on each other. They kept together. One of the reasons it's a whole argument. What are the four things? The three things it says expression that three things that the Jewish people merited to go out of Mitzrayim. One of the things is, Medrash says, one of the things is that they didn't tell on each other. They didn't use you didn't use yourself in the civil. When government wants to take you over, the first thing they create is you should tattletale on each other. Right? People should tattletale, should tell on one another. That's the way they keep people in check. So that's why the worst thing about Yidden is a meiser, somebody to tell on somebody else. It's a big thing. It's a big thing. And meiser, malshinim alti sikva. We say it in our davening every day. Malshinim, and those who tattletale to governments against other people to their detriment. Is alti sikva. They shouldn't have any kind of there shouldn't be any ticket. There shouldn't be any hope, because a lot of people try to get out of things by tattletaling on others, by snitching on others.
Isn't that what the Apostle were in the Holocaust?
We're not gonna go. We're not gonna give practical situations. Everybody has their situation. Not here telling, not here judging anybody. But the point is, a meiser was something that was a terrible thing, and that's what he was afraid of. If you look at Rashi says that Moshe Rabbeinu says that now I know where the Jewish people on Golos, because the Jewish people they did tattletale. Well, that's what happened. He was afraid they were going to tattletale, and they did tattletale. So truth is, he was right. His fear was correct. But the Rebbe says the lesson is he shouldn't have been afraid, because his fear brought him to that. So if he maybe wouldn't have been afraid, if he would have had he would have thought good, maybe they wouldn't have tattletaled. So if he would have thought good, so it was his own thing. That's why the Eibusha shows him. It tells you he took speak lashon hara. You say the Jewish people are not going to listen. You become a mitzvah. You become a leper, right? You don't speak even the truth. Person should speak lashon hara, should think lashon hara, another person, and you have that capability. You have the capability. That's the lesson we learned from Moshe Rabbeinu. We have the capability. Moshe Rabbeinu should have thought good, even though it was the selfishness of these guys were not good. And ultimately what he thought had happened, but maybe what he thought brought it to happen. And that's why the pasuk tells us. Why would it tell us that Moshe Rabbeinu feared? It's a very interesting verse. It tells us about Moshe Rabbeinu, what was in Moshe Rabbeinu's heart that he was afraid. Why does the pasuk have to tell us? That's a natural thing. You're afraid. Somebody tells you, "I know you did something bad." Now you should be afraid. Everybody's afraid of that. Everybody wants to keep their what they did in the private. But the pasuk is teaching us something, because right after that verse, the Torah says, "Vayishma pare." You'll look in the pasuk. You'll go look at the parsha. It says, "Vayira." He was afraid. He was afraid. Oh, behold, the thing has been found out. And then it says, "Vayishma pare," and the pare heard about it. So the second, the Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid. The Pharaoh was informed about what he did. So therefore, tach good v'zayin good. If you think positive, it will be positive. You have to start practicing that. I know a lot of people don't believe that. It's something that's hard to believe, that you're going to think good will be good, right? Something hard. And when you're in a situation, when you're in a dark situation, it's hard to say, you know what, I'm going to think about that it's good. But you got to start doing that. Your mind is bigger. then you think that it is. You have the capability to be in a dungeon like Yosef Atzadik and feel like it's a good day. You don't get because you don't want to get it. Not because you don't get it because you cannot get it. You could. Maybe you start practicing. Start practicing with your mind. Start doing mind exercises to start thinking good. Maybe you would ultimately think good. I don't know. You cannot prove it until you try it. So you got to start thinking good. And you'll see, maybe if you flex your mind, you'll start thinking in a positive way. It'll transform it. It'll change the situation. But if I'm never going to think good, then I'm my own prophet. Then what do you expect? It's a doomsday. It is doomsday. You thought it's going to be doomsday. You're proving yourself it's doomsday. Now you feel good that you proved yourself it's true. It's a bad day.
But I'm thinking good.
Yeah, good. That's it. We all need to think good. But you're a good thinker. We're talking about me. I don't think good. So it's not a chachma that a person that thinks good. Some of us don't think good. We think negative. We have negative thoughts. We have cloudy thoughts. So the Alter Rebbe, again, tries to impress upon us that we have good minds, that we have strong minds, that we have the capability to think good. And if we only would practice this, we would be victorious. Right? Kedoshim Tiyu, it goes in all aspects. Kedosh, you should be holy. Think you're holy. The truth is you are holy. You have a godly soul, so you are holy. That's the truth. So even though you know you're not so holy, because you know your record, you have your portfolio, so you know your record of unholiness, but you can still think holy. You can still think holy because you have a godly soul. So you are holy. You said it in your davening meditation. Shama shenasata b'tahiri. The neshama that you gave me is holy. So if my neshama is holy, so I am holy. My neshama is within me. And the Torah says, "Anechi," that I dwell in your impurity. The Eibusha says you shouldn't think that because you're impure, I cannot be there. That's the opposite. I dwell in your impurity. I'm God. I can be in an impure place, and I can be in an impure place. So again, the Eibusha says, I'm there with your impurity. So you're right, you're impure. Not argue with you. You're impure on many levels. But nevertheless, I still have something that's pure. I still have something that's pure. My neshama, God, it is unaffected by anything of any impurities, and I can be pure. Now, where's your neshama? Where's my godly soul? In my mind. That's the makom mishkan nefesh elokis. That's the place and the source of my godly soul. So that's where it resides. It resides in my mind. I need to start thinking good. So we need to practice that every morning. That's why right away you wake up in the morning is Maidani lefanecha shazai to be nishmasi. I thank the Eibush to give me back something that's pure. Right? I'm impure physically. When I wake up in the morning, I'm impure.
Right.
I have to wash my negavas. I'm impure. I'm not allowed to touch anything. I'm not allowed to say a dov kedusha. I'm not allowed to say a bracha until I wash my hands because I'm impure. I'm tummy. I'm going to have a concept of impurity. But nevertheless, in this impurity, I say, Meidani lefanecha. I thank you, the Eibishter. I don't say God's name, lefanecha, to you. Shazai to be nishmasi. That my neshama is in this level of impurity. It is pure. That already accentuates to me that I have a concept of purity that's unaffected by any impurity that might happen in the day, right? Because I'm now in a level of impurity. I didn't wash negavas. I can't say a bracha. I'm in a concept of impurity, but nevertheless, I acknowledge that my neshama is pure. My neshama is pure. It's not affected by all this impurity. My neshama is as pure as it is. As
you were born.
As the day you were born. Correct. So this is the power of what the Alter Rebbe tries simply. If we can influence ourselves on this, we would have a different attitude in life for God, for ourselves, for each other, for our challenges. And even if we would fall, and even if we would fall in our challenge, we're still pure. Right? That even though we'd fall, we're human beings that are going to fall. You cannot be a situation that you're not going to fall. That's a tzaddik. A tzaddik will never fall. Whatever that fall is, you're far from that falling. So that's a spiritual falling. Trust me, that's a different kind of falling. Yeah, my falling is not a tzaddik's falling. I'm falling. I'm doing something negative. I'm doing an aveda. I'm doing a whatever reason. I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, and that's going to happen because I have an nefesh of Bahamas. I have an animalistic soul, and as the Gemara says. That every person is going to do three things every day that he can't stop it. Lashon hara. He's going to speak a good. He's going to speak. Might speak lashon hara, or you might not daven correctly, or not bittul Torah. You're not going to learn Torah when you could be learning Torah. So you're going to do that. You're going to do that negative thing. Why are you looking at me? It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. We're not. Oh, yeah, I know you need a drink. It's I don't want to get you sick. Yeah. So let's look at that Alter Rebbe. He's trying to inspire us. We're holding in the page 75, 74 on the left column. The mind, in turn, by virtue of its inherent nature, is master over the left part of the heart, and over the mouth, and over all the limbs in which are the instruments of action. That's it. That is the mind by nature. The Eibishter created the mind that by its nature it rules. Everything comes from the mind. Everything, even in life, your energy, if you're brain dead, God forbid, to some you're dead and you're officially dead. Even though your heart is still pumping. Your brain dead, chas v'shalom, you're considered dead, physically dead. So that's what the Eibishter created by nature, that your mind rules everything in the body. Everything comes from the mind. Why? Because that's why the Eibishter created the world. We say in the Torah, kulam b'chachma sisa. Everything, it comes from wisdom. Everything in the world comes from the wisdom of God. It comes from, so to say, what we consider the brain of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Just like everything in the physical body comes from the brain, so too everything comes from the world, also comes from the brain of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to say. Can't call God a brain. Except in him who is completely wicked. As the rabbi said, that the wicked are under control of their hearts. Now again, you see, if you learn today Chitas with us, you'll know that the Alter Rebbe says that, again, wickedness over here is not when you go and do an Avera, God forbid. That's not what's called in the Torah wicked. Wicked is when a person that gives away something of himself to some other force. Eibishter gave you that everything that he gave you in your life should be in your control. That the Eibishter told you, I'm putting you in control. You're responsible. I gave you a pakadon. I'm giving you I come to you, I give you something to watch for me, and I give it to you. Now it becomes your control. You become achrayis. You become responsible. You can't tell me. You have to tell me before. I'm not going to be responsible. Then it's up to me to give it to you or not. But if I give you something and you take it, you become totally responsible. You cannot come back to me and say, I only took responsible in half of the thing. I only took responsible of a quarter of the thing. You know, you took responsible over the entire thing from A to Z. The Eibishter gives you a body and a soul, and you have to become totally responsible for it. And you can't come later and say, I'm sorry, I didn't take responsibility. It's not reason I didn't take responsibility. I couldn't take responsibility. You did responsibility. You took responsibility of this object. And that's why you're ultimately responsible. That's why the gains. That's why the Rambam writes. There's a concept of reward and punishment in the Torah. If you don't believe that you're responsible, somebody else is responsible. So why is the concept of any reward or punishment? If it's not your responsibility, then if you gain, then somebody else's gain. If you're responsible, then there's a concept of schar v'einish, right? The schar v'einish. You can't have I'm only going to take the gain and no losses. I know you like that, but it doesn't work that way. You got to take the gain and the losses. You can be a person who takes no gain and no losses. That I take no responsibility. That's a shemus chinam. That's an unpaid watchman. I take no responsibility. I'm not taking no gains, no losses. I put it in the closet there and leave me alone. That's it. That's a shemus chinam, an unpaid watchman. That's it. No gains, no losses. The thing becomes more valuable. No gain, no loss. But what are you? Question is, what are we? We're shemachinam. We're not unpaid watchmen. We don't want we don't want nothing. We want gains. We want the gains. We want the gains. So now I'm a shemesachar, or I'm a shoyel. I'm a person that is borrow something to use. Oh, you borrow something to use. Now you got to take full responsibility for everything, for the gains. You'll get the gains, but if there's losses,
I don't want it.
you got to take responsibility for the losses. If the losses, even if the thing dies up here, a shayel is chayev. He's responsible. He's responsible for the object.
I learned that early.
There's only one time that the person that the shayel, the one who borrows, is not responsible, and that is if bail of imay, if the owner is with him. That's halacha. That's Torah law. So if the bail of I borrow your car from you, right?
Yeah.
And then I give you a ride in the car, and the car dies. Right? Bail of imay, lo yishalem. If the owner was with you, you saw me driving, everything was fine, and I gave you you're part of the situation. So then I'm potter. So if the Eibush is with you, then you're fine. The problem is, if the Eibush was with you, you would never do anything negative anyway. If the Eibush is with you, that's what the Alter Rebbe says today in Tanya. If the Eibush is truly with you, if you feel like the Eibush is with you, you would do everything good and nothing bad. Why does a person do something good, doesn't do something good, or does something bad? Because he doesn't believe the Eibush is with him at that moment. He thinks he's not watching. He thinks he's on his own. He thinks he's on his own. He thinks he has no connection to God. God is not here. My godly soul's not here. So now automatically I can do something. I can do a negative thing, or I don't have to do the positive thing. Imagine if I feel Hine Hashem Nitzav Alav, the Eibush is standing upon me. I would do everything right and never do anything wrong. Right? So really, the second I come to think of something wrong, I have to feel God standing right in front of me. The second somebody asks me to do a favor, I say, I start kvetching. If I feel that God is right there, I would do what is right. So it's all in my mind. I decided God is here or God is not there. I said today in the morning that everybody makes the red line. And everybody decides what the red line is. One guy decides this how far the red line goes. The other guy decides it's this far. How far does the red line? When do we say no? Who made up this red line? Who made up with this red line? The red line started in Chassidus by your machshava. It started already. The red line started in the machshava. The second you think a negative thing, the second you think you're right, you're ready. The red line has been breached.
When you say
Yeah.
think of it, it'll be good. Is that just the negative? The only one that says that is from someplace.
Rebbe always takes everything from someplace. I told you, I said it. I said the Chumash. Okay. So I said the Rebbe says it's for last week's Parsha. Yes, it's Parsha. But Moshe Rabbeinu thought negative, and a negative thing happened. So you have to tackle with Zayngut. You have to think. It's all up to your thought. You're going to think negative. What happened?
So that's the source of it.
No, I'm not saying this. So I don't know if that's a source. The evidence says you see that's a. I don't know if that's a source. The source is the Tzemach Tzedek. The third Lubavitch Rebbe said that statement. Tzrach Kutvitai was a chassid who came to him and told him that he had a very sick child and he's going to die. And the Tzemach Tzedek said Tzrach Kutvitai good, and he thought good, and Baruch Hashem everything happens. So that's a story. That's the story. That is the expression. It's a Tzemach Tzedek's expression. Never.
I'm just wondering if there's is there a Torah source for this, or did this come about through the wisdom of the Tzemach Tzedek? I'm asking you the Torah.
The Torah source is what we're learning in Tanya. The power of the mind. The power of the mind. If you want self-transformation, you have to start with your mind. If you want to transform things with your own being, it has to start off with the mind. If you're not gonna, people think that they can never change things in their life. They have a certain kind of a life, and that's the life they're gonna have. And that's not true. I meet a lot of people that have changed their life. They don't realize they've changed their lives. They've changed their lives. That's the reality. Why? Because they thought to think different. That's the point. You have Bali Tshuva, people who came from, who were not from before, they're from now. And that's the reality, because they decided that that's what's going to be. In their mind, they made a conclusion that that's what they're going to do. And they ultimately changed it. And that's the reality. So you have to, and the truth is that Baruch Hashem, we all change our mind as we grow up. We grow up, we become more mature. That's the changing of the mind. We become more mature, we become more refined, we become better people. That is where does that happen? That happens in my mind. It happened in my mind, and that's why it happened ultimately in the way I deal with things, in the way I respond. Because in my mind, I came to a conclusion that needs to be done. Needs to be done. So the more I can work on my mind, the very important thing, the more I can work, I can sit and when I daven, before davening, I can learn. The more Torah I learn, that's why Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. You want to change yourself, learn. Pashut need to learn more. You need to take the time to learn more. The more you're going to learn, the more you're going to change your mind. The more you're going to have a transformation of mind. That's the way it is. There's no other trick over here. There's no other way to do it. There's no other way. There's no other trick. There's no quick fix over here with the mind. That's why the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, this is a long but short way. The mind is a longer way because it's not easy. If you change your mind in a second, then it might not be real. That's why even you see by Avraham Avinu, it took him 3 days to get to the place, right? Because the Eibishter wanted to know if his mind is there, right? If you're going to tell him, say, go kill your son, he kills him. Okay, you have an emotional outburst. It's a crazy situation. People could do crazy things in a second. No, let's take 3 days. Think about it, right? I can imagine Avraham Avinu is traveling 3 days. He's thinking about what he's going to do. The question is and then you'll throw in a couple of wrenches over there, see if he turns around and say, okay, it's not working out. Okay, forget it. Okay, thank God there's a river in front of me, so I can't turn. Let's go back home. And he doesn't do that. So there he proves that in his mind, he made a commitment to something, and he's going to follow through in what his mind decided to make that commitment. So therefore, he had a strong mind. You could see by Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they had strong minds. They were strong-minded people. You live with Moshe Rabbeinu. You can see what kind of mind he had. That's why he's called Moshe Rabbeinu, because he teaches us how to use our mind. What means the concept of seichel? What means the aspect of intellect? Not how to respond and what to respond and what to say intellectually, not what to say emotionally for the burst of the emotions that a person is going to respond. Are you responding intellectually? Are you responding emotionally? How are you responding? You have to respond with your mind. You have to, and that's why we live with these people. To push it for us in a simple way. I said Rashi, the beauty of Rashi, he said, you want to go into the you got to go to the simple. What is the pasuk telling me simply to me? Zalman Bucket. What is the pasuk talking to me intellectually? Right? I need to know what the pasuk means. That's why also when you hear many expressions, you hear people say, I don't know, I don't understand one word. What it means. That means you have to work on it. So it needs to be worked on. Needs to be worked on. There's nothing. Hopefully you go to a class. Is a person saying his own fantasies. He's saying something that he's bringing you a thing. He's writing it. It's written, and you go figure out what that means. Go figure out what the Alter Rebbe means. What does it mean? We can philosophize about it, but ultimately the question is still valid. What does it mean to me? What does it mean to me? I can hear, you can put it on the wall over here, the statement, think good will be good. So good. Like I always remember, on the walls, Derech Eretz Kadmot Torah. We always had on the wall in our school. Derech Eretz, decent, but how many kids really cared about it? So it was on the wall. Everybody knew what it meant. Everybody knew what it meant. Did anybody have Derech Eretz? Very few. Because it's not a statement. It's not just a statement on the wall. You're right. It's a statement that each and every one of us needs to evaluate. What does it mean? Trach gut wird sein gut. What does that mean to me? What does it mean to me? To me, I'll tell you what it means to me. Simple. It means to me, I'm a simple guy, that if I can think good, it will change the way the thing is. It will ultimately change the way the thing is. It's going to become good. It's going to become good. And the truth is, it did many things in my life. You go through things and troubles and so on, and it turns out to be good. It turns out to be good. It shows it's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. My struggles are not the end of the world. I told a guy yesterday, your struggles are not the end of the world. They're struggles. They're not the end of the world, but when you make your struggles the end of the world, then you have then it's very difficult to overcome it because it's the end of the world. And you have to decide in your mind, it's not the end of the world. It's a struggle. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. The world is not coming to an end. I'm not talking about the physical world. Your world is not coming to an end. It's not. It's not. And you have to decide in your mind that it's not coming to an end. It is a struggle. You can't deny it. You're going through a struggle in life, and it's a big struggle, but it's not the end of the world. And you'll overcome this struggle, and you'll see that you'll prosper. Be'ezat Hashem. And if you can come to that conclusion in your mind, you'll see that you'll handle the struggle in a different way. That's it. You'll handle the struggle in a different way. People handle struggles that it's finished. Their life is over. Yeah.
No, I had a question, but I'm answering it myself. That let's say I have a child. I don't, but I have a child that's sick, and I'm thinking good. I'm thinking that this child will get well, but the child doesn't get well. So
that's the baby still wanted.
But how does that prove the theory?
Because that's the $1 million question. That's when people say, "Oh, we davened for somebody and it didn't get well." So some people say the Abish said no. I don't like that answer. Because everything you do for somebody has a positive effect on them. Everything you do for somebody, when you daven for somebody, it has a positive, so it is well. It's maybe your conclusion didn't work out that wellness, but that it's not well for his neshama, for his soul is 100% well. What you did for his neshama is very well. He's extremely had a great impact on his neshama, and every tillim you said for that soul had a great impact on that neshama. So that's it.
The soul sign good part is about the soul. Then it's not.
No, we want to talk of right now. Talk of Zanga is going to be good physically. Then we worry about the next step. Right now, talk of Zanga is physically. It's going to be well. And that's not my statement. That's a Gemara. The Gemara says, even if a sword is on your throat, you have to think good.
So is that the reason I'm, one of
No, I mean, I don't know. That's a source. You know, to Tzemach Tzedek didn't say a statement and said the source.
No,
I can give you hundreds of sources.
well, the
Again,
reason
I just gave you another source. Whatever come to my head, I'll give you sources. You have another source.
I'm asking you for a reason. One of the reasons I'm asking you is that.
It's called B'tachin.
It's a very new agey thing to say. There's a lot of people that don't realize there's anything target about it. That's why I'm asking you.
What do you mean, target?
Think good and it'll be good. It's
Correct.
very new. They made a movie about it called The Secret. It's a very big, popular new agey thing that some from people don't even know. And I also don't exactly know where it comes from. That's why I'm asking you for like Gemara, the Gemara.
I just gave you a Gemara.
I know, but that's why I'm asking. I'm not asking.
It's called B'tachin.
Yeah.
B'tachin. That's what it's. You want to go to the root. B'tachin. We have B'tachin in the Eibishter. That's it. We have trust in God.
But that's just.
If you have trust in God, that the Eibishter does everything for the good. So everything is
Even
good.
if it doesn't seem like.
You want another Gemara? Ein ra yerim al. Nothing bad comes from above. That's another Gemara. Again, we can go on and on. You can explain this expression in many ways. Ein ra yerim al. That's another thing where people grapple with. Nothing bad comes from above. What do you mean? I see it's bad. So Chassidus says, bad is really greater good than regular good. Another expression, right? Chesed. So you go in Kabbalah, you have the revealed chesed, you have the hidden chesed. You want to have another source. It says, the Eibusha says, Moshe Rabbeinu says, what is your name? And God says, Ey Asher, I am, I will be there as I'll be there. What's the question and what's the answer?
What is the answer?
What's the question? Moshe Rabbeinu says, what's your name? I'm going to come to the Jewish people and they're going to ask me, what's your name? Right? And what is the Eibusha answers? I am who I am. Hey Asher, I'm going to be there. Rashi says, I'll be there in this pain as I'll be with you in the next pain. What's the question? What's the answer? The question was, what's your name? I'll be there. What is the question? What's the question? And what's the question? What's your name? What is the meaning of that question? What's your name? What's your name? The Eibusha had 7 names. We know that. Every Jew knows God's names. He has many names. So what is the question? It sounds like a 5-year-old question. What's your name? My name is Jack. Okay. Even the Malach, when Jacob asked him his name, well, you need to know my name. What is the question? So now when this is the question, Moshe Rabbeinu says, I'm gonna come down to the Jews and ask him, what's your name? Oh, that's the big question. What's the name? Okay, I'll give you 7 names. I got not one name, I got 7 names. Shem Nechakim. I got 7 names. So that's the big question the Jewish people are gonna ask. Give him the name. No. Moshe Rabbeinu is asking a deep question. Moshe Rabbeinu, according to some, Moshe Rabbeinu is asking the Eibishter, I'm gonna come out to the Jewish people. They're gonna say, what's your name? They're gonna say the name Yud-Kei Vav-Kei. That's the name of God. Well, that's Chesed. So they're gonna say, this is the name of God, it's Chesed, this is Chesed. This is the name of the Eibishter. This is the way God is in the world. This is kindness. This is hell. Right? We are in Gehenna. So you're telling me that the Eibishter's name is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, which is the concept of Rachamim. This is Rachamim? Where's God? This is God. So the deep question the Jewish people have asked throughout history, where's God? Right? If God is God of mercy and God is the God of kindness, this is kindness. This is God. Are you serious? So that's a question. That is a deep question. And the Eibusha says, good question. The Eibusha says, I'm there. Trust me, I'm there. Where's God? Hey, I'm there. Even I'm there.
In the good and
I'm there. You trust me. It's chesed. Trust me. That's betachin. Trust me. Trust me. It's chesed.
our perception.
You don't see it as chesed. You're in hell. Trust me. Trust me. I'm there. I am there, right there in your Tzara. So then the Torah continues. It says, but how can I say? He says, you're right. The Eibush says, this is at this present time, it's hidden. This chesed. This chesed is seemingly hidden. Because they're in Mitzrayim. They're in the midst of the darkest gullus, one of the darkest exiles of the Jewish nation.
Hopefully not for long.
I'm talking about Mitzrayim, 3,000 years ago. So the Eibush is that.
World, it could be short.
No, but the Eibush doesn't say that. The Eibush says, hey, I'm there. I'm right there. My chesed is right there. I'm right there. I'm exactly right there. So in your darkness, I'm right there. I'm sitting right there. You telling me where am I? I'm right there. I'm going through the hell like you're going through this hell. Imanechi b'tzara is the Eibush says I'm going through this Gehenna like you're going through. I'm not watching from a distance. I'm not sitting in like Nero who played the fiddle while Rome burnt. I'm sitting there with you. I'm in the oven with you.
It's a hard one for me.
But that's the Eibush's answer. That's God's answer. That's God's answer. The God says, I'm there with you, your tzaddik, I'm there with every tzaddik you go through. When you go through a personal tzaddik in your life, the Eibush is right there. That's betachin. That's betachin, the Eibush. Do you believe the Eibush is right there? Not where's God? He's right there.
Gotta get you through it.
Mitzvah. He'll get you through it. He'll get you through it. He'll get you through it. By hook or by crook, he'll get you through it. He'll get you through it. Trust me, he'll get you through it. Either begashmius or beruchnius, he'll get you through it. Nothing is for nothing. Chas v'shalom, right? Chas v'shalom. A Jew should believe that something is for nothing. That this tzaddik that we're going through today is for nothing.
That's why we were created.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What do you want to say? Yeah. So I'm sorry you wanted to say something.
It was an eon ago.
I know. But sometimes I go into the transit and
That was,
never give a rabbi a phone. Yeah.
so somebody once said that if you pretend or if you think that Hashem is there when you're davening, it changes your davening. So they said in a practical sense, you can designate a chair and say Hashem is sitting in that chair. Again?
Whatever inspires you. You could do whatever inspires you. You have to do whatever inspires you.
But that's
Yeah, it might sound trivia, but you got to do whatever inspires you. If it works for him, it works. You know, whatever works for somebody else might not work for you. Might sound trivia for you it might sound trivia to somebody, but if it's not trivia to him, then that's what he should do.
so I tried it.
And it didn't work.
Lasts very long.
Okay, but good. I understand. It wouldn't last for me either. Because but that doesn't mean that it's not for somebody else. If that works for him, then that should work for him. Hine Hashem nitzev alav. You have expression dalaf name in a shul. You have these expressions, these statements. You know, the Eibush is not a Kaddish. That's the chair. That's the chair. We're focal point on that. So that's the chair, whatever you want to call it. That's the chair. You know, they say the story. They say you can look this up. It's a video actually, where they take this bunch of kids, second graders, and they bring these two groups in separately, and each kid separately, and they tell him, they say, we're gonna give a what do they call it, a test. They put a basketball hoop on the thing, and they say, can't pass this line, and if you get the ball into the thing, you get a prize. And they show the prize. and every kid comes into the room separately. Nobody's there, and then they put a chair underneath the basketball. And they say, Prince Elsa, they called it. Prince Elsa is watching you. She's sitting here right over here, and she's watching you if you're cheating or not. Right? So they had two different groups. One group, they didn't put Prince Elsa, right?
Didn't put the what?
They didn't put the chair there.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see if the kid would cheat, right? He's going to pass the line. 90% cheat. 90% cheat. Right? Because nobody's watching, right? So they all walk over to the thing and they drop it in the hole. They try. You got to give them, but it doesn't work. So they cheat. The next group, they put the chair and they say, here, Prince Elsa's watching. And nobody cheats. It's an empty chair. They call it Prince Elsa, whatever. They wanted it, made up a name, whatever. Prince Elsa's watching you, and she wants you to do good and not cheat. So you see some of the kids, they walk over the chair, they're checking the chair, they're like in a dilemma: is Prince Elsa there or not? But they don't pass the line. They don't pass the line. Why? Because they in their mind, Prince Elsa's watching.
They're our neighbors.
Prince Elsa's watching, and they can't get it into the hole. They just can't do it. They're too young, so they can't get it in. But they don't cheat.
We have to be. Why is that happening?
So in essence, you can tell a kid that this was not a class about Tanya, but tell a kid, you can tell a kid that it's the God. We were brought up what? We were brought up as kids. We were brought up. The Abish is watching, right?
Yeah.
God is watching.
Yeah.
Don't do that. God is watching. Right? God is watching. I don't know. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. As we got older, we thought God is watching. Is He really watching? Then we brought up later in the joke, the bar mitzvah.
He's definitely watching.
There's a pile of donuts, and it says that the teacher put a sign over there: one donut a person, God is watching. So a kid put up a plate of cheesecake. He said, anyone, as much as you want, God is watching the donuts. Take as much as you want, because God is watching the donuts. You okay? So that's it. So our mind decides God's watching the donuts. He's not watching this. He's watching here. He's not watching there. He's interested in here. He's not interested in there, etc., etc. So we our minds. That's our minds. That's why I said before that we after the episode today in the morning, we decide our minds is our folly of our minds decides where's the line. Where is the line? God's watching here, but He's not watching there. God's interested in this thing, but not so interested in this thing. God cares more about A, but not about B. Who made that decision? I don't know. That my mind made that decision that God is interested in A and He's not interested in B.
But it wants her that
It's just the age of her.
any tefillah,
My mind's not the order.
any tefillah that a person says may not go to the person you want it to go to, but it goes somewhere. It's not wasted.
Heavy tefillah goes to God. That's it. Doesn't go to any person. It goes to God. And every tefillah, God hears every tefillah. There's no question about it. God hears every tefillah. He hears every prayer. And whatever the Eibishter answers, that's a correct answer.
I have to rebuild my whole,
We all have to build our whole perspective. That's the Kabbalah. That's what we learn, Torah, to rebuild our perspective in life. And we could do it. It's not something that we cannot do, because the Eibishter gave us Baruch Hashem a strong mind, and we should use that mind to have a better perspective in everything that we do. We should use our mind for that thing. Now, the nature of our animal soul tells us not that way. You should go to the way you were brought up. You should go to the way you feel comfortable with. Go to what makes you feel good, and that's what you should go to. That's where our natural side says stick with what you're used to, stick with what makes you comfortable, even though it hurts you, it brings you down, but you have some comfort zone with this. So stick to the comfort zone, and let's not go to something you don't know, to something new, which is maybe uncomfortable. And that's the folly, that's the stupidity. And we're willing to go to the stupidity, even though we know that it hurts us, it's negative, it's going to be. We're willing to go that way. We're willing to go there because we're comfortable in that way. We're comfortable in that. We're comfortable in that parameter. And the Torah says, you know what? Don't do that. Don't do that. Because not only is it bad for you personally, it's the Torah is more worried about your partial relationship with God. Your simple relationship with God. I sent you down on a mission, and all this Nadishkeit is affecting the mission that I've sent you down to the world for. And that's really the bigger problem. Not my Nadishkeit that is not making me happy and not making me productive and keeping me down. Bullshit, your mission of my neshama is being affected. That's really the bigger problem. That's the much bigger problem than anything, all the other things you're going through. That's really what the Alter Rebbe is talking about. Now, the Rebbe is talking about the Rebbe just sent the neshama down to the world for a mission to do in this world, to accomplish unbelievable, and all this Nadishkeit is affecting your mission. That's the biggest chaval. That's the biggest sadness of the story. Not that you're going to be sad, you're going to be depressed. Sure, that also. But that your pashut, your neshama is wasted its time. Your neshama that came down to the world to transform this world, to bring godliness to the world, pashut didn't accomplish its first step because of all these issues. And if you would focus on that, you would realize that since that's my real mission in life, is my godly soul. So why am I wasting my time? It's a portion of waste of time. Wasting my time. I'm wasting my time with all these small things in comparison to the journey of my soul. That what am I doing? I'm killing myself. That's why the Torah says it's chayim misi. You're killing yourself. You're killing yourself. What do you mean you're killing yourself? You're killing your godly soul. Not killing, you can't physically kill your godly soul. You're killing its mission. It's like death to it. Because it came down to a mission. It came down to be an inspiration. It came down to be a light. And when I'm not letting it happen. I'm not letting it happen. All for good reasons. But what does that have to do with the mission in life? What does that have to do with the true mission in life? All these good excuses and all these good situations. What does that have to do with your mission in life? Garnished. Nothing. That's why now I understand why it's called folly, stupidity. It's really stupid. All these things, all these hang-ups and these emotional issues, and to your mission in life is to push it. Doesn't make any sense. Your mission in life, to your relationship with God, what does all this have to do? What does it all have to do? It's nothing. You don't need all these things to your relationship with the Eibusher. You just don't need it. Your relationship with God is your relationship with God. That's what you came to this world, to have a relationship with the Eibusher. That's what you came to the world for. If you comprehend it, that's what you truly came to the world for, to have this relationship with God. All these other things are either going to enhance your relationship or get rid of it.
A lot of us are missing the boat.
We're all missing the boat. Because we're all in the same boat. Because we all allow these small things to become bigger than the mission of what my life is supposed to be. We all allow these small things to become big in our lives.
And if you're about tshuva, and you wasted all this time, how do you make up for it?
Because again, when a person accomplishes a mission, then it doesn't make a difference how long it took him. It doesn't change the situation because it's a godly mission. So what? You wasted 20 years. You accomplished your mission. The chaval is that if you waste 20 years and you didn't have accomplished the mission. That's why the Gemara says, Yesh mishakaina lam b'shachas. Some person can acquire his whole world in 1 minute.
And if you-
Because he becomes smart in that minute. He becomes smart and says, you know what? Enough is enough. Playing around enough. I've been being who knows what, who knows how long. Enough is enough. It's time to get real.
And if you go down on not accomplishing your mission, as if we know exactly what our mission is, but that'll prevent you from really accomplishing it in the now.
Right? So accomplish, and you know your mission. We meet on it. You know your mission. Your mission is to be a godly individual. Your mission is to dafkavay, to cleave to God, to love God, to do whatever positive in this world, to be a light in the world. That's your mission. And if anything hampers this mission, it's not. It should be thrown out. Get rid of it.
Well, I was also told that as Balachiva, when you do tshuva on whatever you're doing tshuva on, it becomes a mitzvah. So you've wiped out the negative and put a positive thing on it. And changed
100%.
it, and 100% changed it. So there's nothing to feel guilty about or to feel sad about, because look what you've done. You did the tshuva.
Anyway, we're not really volunteer, but we're Tinok Shnezba. God gave me my parents. God gave me my environment. I didn't choose to grow up totally around non-Jews. I didn't choose to grow up
Yeah,
eating
but you chose to
cheeseburgers.
be where you are now.
That's correct. You're Tinish 100%. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the journey. That's it. It's all part of the journey. This mission has a journey. But you should always remember the mission. That's it. It took you time to get to the mission. But sooner or later, you got to make a conclusion. It's time to get real. Right? They're living a fake world. They're living a fake reality. It's time to get real. That's when when it's going to click. Your mind's going to click and say, it's time to get real. The truth is that can happen once a day. Hopefully once a day you click in your mind, say, time to get real. What am I doing here? What do I got to do? Time to get real. That's what Alter Rebbe says. That a Rasha is out of control. He's in control of his side, not of his mind. And they're dead. This is the punishment for enormity or potency of their sin. But the Torah does not speak of these dead who in their life are called dead. They're walking dead. They're living in a world of nothing. Not real. Living in a world of a false world. So it's dead.
It just seems I don't mean no disrespect. It just seems a little simplistic to me, because when you're in the middle of a nisayon, right? You know, you can't help but have this feeling or that feeling, or it seems like this, and then the journey is that I've got to try to find Hashem in the darkness. But you still have to grapple with the darkness.
You know, the Rebbe says 2 words in this aspect. Is berurim. Berurim means to mevar something, to go sifting through things. Then what the word you just used, nisayon, which is a challenge. What's the difference? What's the difference? The avodah of berurim, the avodah of sifting through rectification, or the avodah of nisyanis, the avodah of a challenge. A challenge, like Avraham Avinu. Suddenly there's a river in front of him. That's an nisayon. He's traveling to do God's will. And suddenly there's a river in front of him. He had a nisayon. He had a nisayon. He had a challenge. A river was a nisayon. 10 challenges God gave Abraham. God gives us that. What's the difference? The difference is a major difference, because the berurim you have to work on. You have to change. A nisayon shows you it was never anything to begin with. When one overcomes a nisayon, it shows that it was never there. When Avraham Avinu saw this river and he just walked forward, it disappeared. The Rebbe says that is the difference. Today we're in the world of challenges. Push through this challenge, you'll see that the challenge never existed. You will realize the challenge never existed. It's in your mind, the challenge. You'll see that the challenge never existed. And that's a big difference. That shows that in essence, a challenge is in a way harder, but in a way it's easier. We just need to keep the yisod, as the Abish says later, to go on, push through this challenge. Push through the challenge. That's actually when you don't run away from the challenge, you don't deny the challenge, you push through the challenge. You will ultimately see the challenge is not there. It never was a challenge. Or actually the challenge helped you out in your journey. The challenge was part of your journey. Your challenge made you a better person. Right? You didn't have to rectify it. You didn't have to change something. You don't have to worry with the past. Your past was your challenges in life. And Baruch Hashem, you're here today. You're still here. The world did not come to an end. You went through it. You're here today. That showed you that, trust me, you could have gotten through it. As most of us, when we go through a challenge, we realize what a waste of time, the worrying and the anxieties. I think we Baruch Hashem accomplished it and we have survived. And maybe we come out better. So I'm not saying it's not a challenge. It's a real challenge. When Avraham Avinu saw the river there, it's a real challenge. How is he going to get through this river? It's a real reality. He kept on going forward, and the river disappeared. That's it. If he would have stopped and say, okay, how do I do this? It's impossible. Okay, forget it. Let me wait to get a boat. He just went forward. He realized the challenge, he needs to go forward. He needs to deal with the challenge. He needs to go and go forward. And ultimately, it proved to him that it was not a challenge. The Rebbe said, in essence, he said a couple of years, many years before he passed away, said that we finished Avodas Habarurim. We rectified the world.
Yeah.
We transformed Avodas Habarurim. I'm not a Rebbe, can say that. The Rebbe said that now, we're in the Avodah of Nisayon, now it's challenges. We have challenges. We have to prove the light. We see the Jewish people are going through a big challenge. What is right and what is wrong? Right? Keep focused on the truth. Let not anybody hear the screaming. That's your challenge. That's a challenge. And Chas v'Shalom, we should form this challenge. We should continue to do what is right.
The world is rectified.
The world is rectified. It's a better world. It's Baruch Hashem. It's a much better world. We've changed the world to be a better world. Yes, we have. Baruch Hashem. The world has come a long way. The world has come a better world. It's come a much more kinder world, a much more giving world, a much more happier world, a much more healthier world. It has. That's the reality. From 200 years ago, the world has changed drastically in the world. But there's still challenges. There's still major challenges. What's the challenge? Good over evil. That's the challenge. And that needs to be penetrated. That needs to be, we need to show that there's no concept of evil. Not that evil has an existence there's no such thing. Evil has no existence.
Whoa, what does that
That's
mean?
a real challenge.
Evil has no existence. Sheker ain't let a guy. Sheker, falsity has no truth. And when you take away, it has no existence. Ain't no guy has no legs. Falsity does not have existence. The second you give falsity existence, you give then you create darkness. Darkness, bring a little light in, darkness dissipates. That's it. The darkness in the world is because we need to bring more light into the world. That's it. We don't have to transform darkness, bring more light. You bring more light, darkness goes away. That's it. That's the challenge. The challenge is how to bring more light in the world. How to bring more light. Bring more light in the world. But do more good. Do more good. Learn more. Daven more. Give more tzedakah. Whatever it takes. I heard a Rav say today. He said, "What?" He said, I heard a Rav talking in Edsal. He's talking to his group, whatever, to his shul. So he said, you have in Torah, you have Zvul and Yisachar. Yeah, you have Zvul and Yisachar. You have those that go out. And it's an interesting expression. He said, it's a uncle who says Zvulun is a crab. He goes out to war. You have those that goes out to war, and he goes out to sit and learn, and daven. So what does the Torah say? You have those that go out to war to put their life on the line. They're putting their life on the line, right? They're not. They're going above and beyond. They don't have a schedule, right? They don't have. We're going to fight the war for 9 to 5. 5 o'clock. We're off. Or when it's raining or it's cold. You're fighting a war. You got to go Mesiras Nefesh. You got to go above and beyond. You got to give your life. You got to be ready to Mesiras Nefesh. You got to be ready to put your life on line to go fight this war. So now Yisachar, those who are sitting and davening and learning, you have to go above and beyond. You can't expect them to go above and beyond. You're just going to see your schedule, your 9 to 5 schedule. You gotta go above and beyond. You got to learn more. You got to daven more. You got to say more Tillim. You got to give more tzedakah. You got to go above and beyond. So Yidden, we have to go above and beyond. You can't just go in the normal. We're in the middle of a war. It's not a war. It's not a. We could see openly. It's not a war of physical war. It's a spiritual war. So good over bad. We need a light over darkness. This is a war over light over darkness. So this is the last war for Mashiach to come, and that's it. There'll be the tzachon of light over darkness, good over evil. This is a victory, right? So we need a victory of darkness over light. That takes war, whether it's war, whether it's physical war. People are putting their lives on, and there's the Chol side every day. Somebody's getting killed. It's terrible. And you see Mesiras Nefesh of guys, young guys, that are putting their lives on the line. It's unbelievable. So what are we doing? What are the Yisachas doing? What are we doing? We're sitting Baruch Hashem here in America, or those are sitting in Soul even. What are we doing? Are we going above and beyond the letter of the war? So we need more light in the world, because that's the ultimate tzachon. That's the ultimate victory. We all know that the ultimate victory, killing these, that's important, but the ultimate victory is light over darkness. Is changing over evil into good, and that's easy because there's no evil has no truth. The darkness gives evil truth. Bring light into the world, and evil will disappear. And that's what we need to do. We need not to give in, hide away. We need to go out to the world. We need to show the world what truth is. What light is, what goodness is, what kindness is, what humanity is, what it really is, not what they think it is. So we're going to win this war, Be'ezat Hashem. We're going to win this war, Begashmis Beruchnis. We're going to win this war, this physical war, Be'ezat Hashem. Be'ezat Hashem, with the help of God, we'll win this war spiritually too. Because we're going to, and where does it start? With myself. Bringing more light to myself. It's simple as that. Bring more light in myself, my own self of darkness and light. Bring more light into it. Go overcome your challenge. You're in a war. You're gonna say, "I have a challenge in a war. I'm fighting a war." You put your challenges aside. You gotta fight the war. We're fighting a war, and this Tanya, we're fighting a war. You're fighting a war. The war is, and the victory is light. The victory is mind over matter. That I can push it, have a greater mind. Think good. Think good will be good. You gotta start thinking good. Is it easy? No. You're in a war. So let's hope we'll be victorious, but in our own spiritual wars, and ultimately in the physical war, and we'll see the ultimate light and the revelation of goodness in the world. God bless you all. And I wish you all a wonderful day. I see somebody asked a question over there.